This dad would charge his kids anytime they left something out, like dirty clothes in the floor, shoes in the hallway, dishes in the sink, backpack on the stairs. Every single time they had to pay him their own money. You see, his kids had gotten an allowance when they were younger, and then when they were old enough, they both had weekend jobs, so they had money to pay whenever this happened. Every time they had to give him money, he would write it down in a notebook. The kids thought it was ridiculous. The dad thought he was running a business. For years, they complained about this. Complained about how much money he had taken from them. Then, on the day each of them graduated high school, the dad handed them an envelope. Inside of each of their envelopes was every single dollar he had ever charged them, along with a handwritten list showing exactly what every fine was for. And at the bottom of that list was another note. It said, interest. He had been adding extra money on top of everything they paid him. The dad smiled and said, I never wanted your money, kids. I just wanted you to stop leaving your junk all over my house. And I figured this would be a nice, fun way to help get your adult life started. The kids cried. They said that they spent years thinking about how strict their dad was, only to realize he'd been saving every single penny for them, and adding a lot more of his own money to it as well. That's amazing. This girl joined cross country at her school because all of her friends signed up. The problem was, after about 2 weeks of practice, she hated it. Every day she would come home saying, Dad, I want to quit. Her dad would always say the same thing. That's fine, but you have to call the coach and tell him yourself. But she was kind of shy, so she definitely didn't want to do that. Finally, she just asked her dad, Dad, can't you just call him, please? If you're old enough to decide to quit something, you're old enough to tell that person you're quitting. She kept putting it off again. She kept complaining after practice. Dad never changed his answer. Finally, one day at dinner, she dialed the coach's number and told him. The coach wasn't mad at all. He actually thanked her for calling and wished her luck on her future endeavors. That wasn't so bad, Dad. Sorry I gave you all that trouble. Hey, it's all right. I just wanted you to learn a lesson, and she did. At this school, there was a kid called the Mayonnaise Bandit. Every couple of days, somebody would grab a railing on the stairs or their locker, and their hands would be covered in this slimy goo. It was mayonnaise. Mayonnaise! It was believed to be a one-time prank the first time it happened, but then it happened again and again and again. People were just avoiding the railings. The janitors would clean them every afternoon, but the mayo always came back, and they began checking the cameras. The person that did this was wearing all black. They couldn't see his face. He would do it at the strangest times, usually very early in the morning. They never knew how he even got into school that early. Months later, they finally caught this kid. And it wasn't because of the cameras or any tips that students gave in. It was because a teacher noticed one of her students unzip his backpack to grab his notebook. And inside, they saw a giant jar of mayonnaise. He was caught mayonnaise-handed, and he was suspended. Gotta respect the bandit. This kid's dad came up with the weirdest punishment of all time. This kid got a bad grade on his report card. His dad wasn't too happy. You know, kid, I'm not too happy. So he wanted to ground him, but he wanted to do something different. So he came up with this thing called Carry Gary. You see, Gary was a garden gnome that sat on the front porch, and his new punishment for whenever his kid got in trouble was that if you're in this house, you have to be carrying Gary. So every time this kid would come home from school, he would have to pick up the garden gnome and carry him around for the rest of the night until bed. He wasn't allowed to set Gary down beside him. He had to constantly be carrying Gary, even during dinner, watching TV, going to the bathroom. Now, if his parents ever caught him setting Gary down, the punishment time would reset. Oh, you put him down. Another week starts now. Ah, man! One afternoon, his friend came over, and he saw this. Whoa, what's going on? His friend was in the kitchen making a grilled cheese, holding Gary. Oh, making a grilled cheese. What's with the garden gnome? First of all, his name's Gary. Second of all, don't ask. The longest time the punishment lasted was 3 weeks. And it's funny, because it's not really a punishment. He's still allowed to do stuff at the house. He just had to carry that dang gnome. That's hilarious. One day at one school, this kid brought an entire rotisserie chicken in. Nobody knew why, but during lunch, he took this rotisserie chicken to the bathroom and shoved it in the toilet and flushed. Well, that messed things up pretty bad, because that bathroom, every single toilet started backing up, overflowing. The janitor pulled the entire rotisserie chicken out of one of the pipes. Principal got on the announcements the next morning. After yesterday's incident, students are reminded to never flush a rotisserie chicken in the toilets. Please. Now, everyone thought that was the funniest announcement they have ever heard, and the school's #1 mistake was that announcement, because now that kid was a legend, and well, he had started a trend. The next week, another chicken showed up flushed in the toilet. Then another. Students were sneaking them in their backpacks and seeing if they could get away with it. It got so bad, the janitors started checking people as they were coming in. By the end of that semester, the school had spent thousands and thousands of dollars on plumbing repairs. And for years after this, everyone remembered the great rotisserie chicken flush. Gotta respect the hustle. There was a kid at recess who became the official referee. It started because these two groups of friends got into a huge argument about if somebody was out during their kickball game. Nobody trusted either team, so they asked this one kid to decide. Yeah, I was watching. He was definitely out. Both teams accepted it. Well, he started a little business. Pretty soon, if you wanted to play football, kickball, capture the flag, or even some completely made-up random game, you would ask this kid to referee. If it was a new game, the teams had to explain to him, okay, so if the potato goes into the hole, you lose, but if you miss, it's a point? A lot of times it didn't make sense, but he took what he got, and he reffed the game. And once the games would begin, his word was final. He made the calls. Now, in order to get this kid to ref your game, you would have to give him something. He didn't accept money. He didn't care about it. He wanted goods, snacks, drinks, cool items. He even wore a cool black and white striped shirt with a whistle. And everyone thought he was a legend. And that is because he is. You gotta respect the hustle. On the first day of class, this teacher walked in and wrote his name on the board. Mr. Stevenson. He told everyone to open their textbooks. And that was his entire teaching method. That entire class, he made the students copy, word for word, everything that was in chapter 1. Well, students started asking questions. Why did the Roman Empire fall, Mr. Stevenson? He would just say, it should tell you in your textbook. Who won the War of 1812? It should tell you in your textbook. Well, what year did World War II end? That's not in the chapter, but the textbook should tell you. Shortly after that, the principal walked in. Excuse me, who are you? I'm Mr. Stevenson. Sir, you don't work here. I was coming in because the sub never showed up. Mr. Stevenson wasn't a teacher the school hired. Mr. Stevenson was just some random guy that showed up to that school that day, walked into that classroom, and pretended to teach the class. The police did come, and he did get a fine. That's insane! This kid was very quiet in school, so the bully thought he would be an easy target. On one Monday, the bully put a fake spider on this kid's notebook, expecting him to freak out. He's gonna freak out. But the kid sat down, saw it, and got excited instead. Oh cool, a spider! Oh man, it's fake! On Wednesday, the bully put a bunch of paper shreddings in this kid's locker, expecting him to get mad that it was so inconvenient. This'll be so inconvenient for him. But no, he started playing in it with his friends. Oh, come on guys! Look at this! It's raining paper! On Thursday, the bully dumped a bucket of water on it. Oh, thank you so much, man. It's a hot one today. After that, the bully just stood there. He didn't know what to do anymore. He turned around, walked away, and he never messed with that kid again. Because no matter what he did, the kid had the time of his life. This is so freaking cool. So it was fall, and a couple kids, they decide to make a backyard carnival. Obviously, it was nothing official. Just some old toys, a plastic table, and whatever junk they could find. One kid stacked some soup cans on a chair. Knock them down, you win a prize. The other kid taped a bucket to the fence. 3 throws for 1 quarter. But then they got creative. Somebody dragged over a busted wagon and tied it to a bike. And suddenly it was a roller coaster. You ready, bro? Get in. I'm in, man. Let's go. All right. This is awesome! Another kid tied a tire to a tree branch, and there you had it, a swing. They did it just for them at first, like a fun way to spend the afternoon. But then kids from the block started to show up. Yo, what is this? It's a carnival, bro. Come on. By the end of the day, the entire backyard was packed, and a ton of kids from the neighborhood were bringing their own stuff over. It was insane. Candy, prizes, homemade rides. Parents were even showing up, like, what the heck is happening back here? But they loved it. They thought it was super creative. It wasn't professional. It wasn't safe. But for that one day, that backyard was a freaking carnival, baby. And that's awesome. Have a good day, sweetie. Don't miss the bus. I won't. He waves, he shuts the door, he walks down the street, and he pulls out his phone and he calls the school. Hi, this is Mr. Thompson. My son's gonna be sick today. Johnny Thompson? Okay, sorry to hear that. I'll mark him down as absent. Have a great day. He then walks to the local store, buys a bunch of candy, and he hangs out at the park. Meanwhile, his mom and his dad had just finished a morning appointment. Hey, since we're both off work today, let's go surprise Johnny with some lunch. That's a great idea. We'll get him some Wendy's and we'll drop it off at the office. We'll have him come down and say hi. Perfect. They get the Wendy's, they pull into the school parking lot, and they walk into the front office with a brown Wendy's bag and a Frosty. Great parents. Hi, we're here to drop this off for, Johnny, our son, Johnny Thompson. Oh, Johnny's not here today. What? Oh yeah, Mr. Thompson called in this morning. He's sick. I'm Mr. Thompson. No, I did not, and no, he is not. Oh, boy. Now cut to Johnny, their kid, in the park, playing phones on his game and eating candy like he's a freaking king. His mom calls him, and he doesn't even think at first. Hey, Mom, what? I know what you did. Oh, man. He then goes home. His parents come home with the cold Wendy's and the melted Frosty. Johnny was grounded, but they still let him eat the Wendy's. It happens. One of my videos changed this kid's life. I don't know about all that, but it actually inspired him, he said. So he watched one of my stories about one of these businesses that kids ran in their school, and that's when it hit him. You know what? I could run a hustle too. And he did. He started small with gum and stickers. That week he made $90. His next move, he sold Venom energy drinks. And in just 2 weeks, he made $200. And these wins just kept building his confidence. After that, he had decided he was gonna step up a lot. He was gonna make his own website and sell his own streetwear clothing brand. He called it Hype District, and he actually has a website. If you want to check it out, just Google Hype District Canva, and you can see it for yourself. And my friends, this is what happens when you respect the hustle. The legendary substitute. It was last period, 90 minutes long, and this class's teacher was out for 2 days, so a sub came in to cover both. The first thing he said when he came in was this: "All right, students, this class is different. You will decide what we do tomorrow yourselves. Whatever you all agree on unanimously, I will make happen." And the class starts whispering, wait, like anything? Anything, but every single one of you has to agree on it. So for the next hour and a half, the entire class was working like a group project. They debated, argued, bargained, and by the end, they had a full plan. The first 15 minutes, they wanted music playing and they wanted snacks. Then, a movie of their choice. They chose Shrek 2. And with the movie, they wanted soda and pizza. And not like one slice each. They wanted enough pizza so everyone could get stuffed. And the sub just nodded. All right, tomorrow, it's done. And the next day, the classroom was a frickin' vibe. Pizza boxes stacked high, music, Shrek 2, kids with food comas in every desk. It was the only time the entire class agreed on something, and it was the last time that sub ever taught at that school. This kid was bullied for no reason. His name was Eli. He was a pretty average kid. He played baseball. He wrestled a little bit. He was smart, friendly, and this one kid hated him for no reason. That kid's name was Garrett. He would hide Eli's pencils and school supplies in class, blame him for things, getting him in trouble. He was just relentless. He would call him names all the time. "What's up, you frickin' dingleberry?" "Shut up." One day at lunch, Garrett takes it way too far. He walks up behind Eli and smacks him in the back of the head with a large piece of ham. Everyone around them goes completely quiet. Eli stands up. He's completely silent. He turns around and he grabs Garrett by the shirt. And he slams him right into the ground. Garrett's nose was broken. His jaw was fractured. He had to have his jaw wired shut for 6 weeks. After that day, everybody in school called Garrett the Ferret. Eli was suspended for a few days. Well, the next year, when Garrett was a senior in high school, Eli's little brother was starting as a freshman. And one day, Eli's little brother was getting pushed around by a couple of kids. "What up, loser? Leave me alone. You're such a freaking idiot. Stop, leave me alone." Well, out of nowhere, Garrett the Ferret steps in. "Hey, don't touch him. And if I ever see you messing with him ever again, you'll wish you were never born." And those kids stopped, and they never messed with Eli's little brother again. Nobody knew if it was guilt, or if Eli got respect from Garrett that day. But Garrett became a really good guy, and that is awesome. She planned her son's birthday party. He was turning 13. She was a single mom. She wasn't wealthy, she was just getting by. And her son's birthday lands right next to Christmas. So most years he doesn't get much, but like I said, he's turning 13 years old. It's a milestone, so she saved up. She was gonna plan him an awesome birthday with his friends. Batting cages, cake, games, food, a scavenger hunt with a cash prize. She pulled out 4 $5 bills earlier that week to use for the scavenger hunt. Well, on the last day of school, before his kid's birthday party, there was an event at school that she gave her son $5 for. Later that day, her son's friend comes over to hang out briefly. After they leave the house to go play around in the neighborhood, she goes to the kitchen and sees her purse sitting there, and her wallet is open, and she is convinced there's a $5 bill missing from her wallet. What the heck is this? She calls her son. "Did you take $5 from my wallet?" He says no. She asks if his friend took it. He says no, my friend didn't take it. And she's convinced he's lying about this, but he's sticking to his guns. I promise you, Mom, I didn't take it and neither did my friend. This is crazy. Well, I just don't believe you, so your birthday party is canceled. I already called the batting cages. It's over. All this over $5. $5 that she might have just lost herself. Maybe her son didn't actually take it. But she canceled his 13th birthday party anyway, and I think that's pretty messed up. How about you? At this one school, there was a day called the Polar Express Day. It's where the elementary kids would wear their pajamas to school, they would watch Polar Express at the end of the day, and then the buses would take them home. It's everybody's favorite day. Everyone's all cozy, there's snacks. Polar Express is an awesome movie. Well, this one year, during the movie, nobody noticed that the snow was coming down, and it was piling up outside. All right, kids, movie's over. Let's open the blinds and... Oh. It's snowing! And it was snowing a lot. Well, school's over, and the buses are delayed. It takes about 30 minutes for these buses to show up to the school. Well, this group of kids gets on their bus, but it wasn't their normal bus driver. It was a substitute bus driver. And the problem is, for some reason, this bus driver had no idea where he was going. I think this is the right neighborhood, right? No! Where are you taking us? The bus driver didn't know what to do, so he stopped at a freaking gas station. Okay, guys, we're just gonna pull over here for a second. There's a man at my window. Hey, kid, want a free animal? What? Then they stop at a random parking lot. One kid has to call his parents so they can give him directions. Mom, we're lost. Talk to the bus driver. Hi. The mom tries to give him directions. Didn't really work that well. So he drives the bus with all the kids in it back to the bus depot. Carl! What? I need you to take these kids home, man. I have no idea what I'm doing. What do you mean? There's still kids in that bus. Help us. So they switch bus drivers and this bus driver gets them home safely. But by that time, it was around 7 p.m. That's a crazy day. One day, randomly, this kid told his teacher, "My grandma died." Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, that night, the teacher emails the mom. "I just wanted to say, I'm thinking of your family. Deborah was such a good woman. May she rest in peace." The mom reads it, and she freezes. Wait, what? Her mother-in-law wasn't dead. She was literally at bingo that night. A few minutes later, a different mom from school calls her. We're all gonna miss her so much. She was such an incredible woman. No, I'm sorry, there must be some sort of confusion. She's not dead. By the end of the night, half of the neighborhood is sending their condolences. Everyone thinks Grandma's gone. This one family even dropped off a casserole. She then confronts her kid. Hi, did you tell everyone that Grandma died? Yes. Why? I don't actually know. The mom then calls her mother-in-law to warn her about this entire situation. Oh, hi, sweetie. B27. Crap. Hey, Deb, so apparently you died today? Oh, well, no one told me. That's good to know. G26. Bingo! You don't eat till I say you can. You are the worst dad ever. At this house, dinner was a test. Every night, the same rule. No slouching, no elbows, no speaking unless you're spoken to. But one night, this dad added a new rule. No food until you've calmed your mind. Well, kid walks in hungry. It's been a long day. He reaches for a plate. Not until you've counted 30 breaths out loud. It's a new rule. The kid tries to laugh it off. Are you serious? The dad just stares. So he starts. 1, 2. By 19, his voice is shaky, and he's very lightheaded. 20? By 21, he just says screw it and reaches for his plate. 20? No. The dad then stops him. Nope. You're done. He takes the plate and he scrapes it into the trash. No dinner for you tonight, son. And nobody's hit anything. Not his mom, not his sister. He just sits there and watches the rest of his family eat. Later that night, his sister knocks on his door with a granola bar. Doesn't say a word, just leaves it. After that day, he doesn't eat at the dinner table anymore. He finds a way to get his own food. Or he doesn't eat at all. That dad is the worst. Mr. Donnelly was the new history teacher. Perfectly combed hair, crisp tie. He was very well put together. Then one day, one kid finds him on a bodybuilding website. Apparently, Mr. Donnelly used to compete in bodybuilding competitions. Well, he saw this picture of him. Spray tan, oiled up, posing like a bodybuilder, and his bodybuilding name was Titan Steel. Well, this kid tells a bunch of people in his class. And the next morning, "Good morning, class. How are we doing today?" "Good morning, Titan Steel." He's shocked. "Excuse me?" "Oh, sorry, Mr. Donnelly." And by lunch, everybody knew Mr. Donnelly's secret. "Hey, Mr. Steele, you gonna bench the vending machine?" What you got for lunch today, Titan? Bunch of chicken breasts and protein powder? Oh my god. And he's hearing it all day, every day. Whispers of Titan steal this, Titan steal that. By January, he freaking snaps. If one more person says that name, I am quitting Titan Steel. The next day, he was gone and there was a sub. He actually quit that job. I guess he would rather be unemployed than be Titan Steel. Wow, that's absolutely insane. This kid's stepdad worked for Coca-Cola, and because of that, there was a rule in their house. No Pepsi products, ever. Not in the fridge, not at restaurants, and not at birthday parties. If they were out to dinner, yeah, I'll take a Coke with my chicken tenders. I'm sorry, we only have Pepsi products. Yeah, nope, pack it up. We are leaving. We're going somewhere else, kids. But my chicken tenders. I said we're going somewhere else. Even when they were hosting parties at their house, if any of their guests came with Pepsi products, pour it out or throw it away. Those are not allowed in this house. I understand some people have a preference between Pepsi and Coke, but this just went a little too far. That dad sounds insane. Was that a car on the football field? Yo, that's Miss Shelton. So Miss Shelton had been teaching at this school for forever. AP Chem, strict, she was sharp, she wore heels on lab days, and she'd never smiled. But within these last few weeks, she'd been slipping. Her hair's messy, she's forgetting the schedule. She told one kid, I am this close to quitting, I swear to God. Well, finals week hits. She hands out the tests, and then she just leaves the room. Someone says, do we follow her? Yo, guys, she's outside. And then everybody goes to the window, and she's standing in the parking lot, staring at her car, motionless. Half the class is watching, half the class is sitting back down, starting the test, when all of a sudden you hear, boom! Tires screeching. The kids run back to the window. Miss Shelton drives across the curve and onto the football field. And she just starts spinning. She's doing donuts in the middle of the football field. Grass and dirt are flying everywhere. Kids are filming. Teachers and gym staff are running outside to the field to see what's going on. They're screaming, my field! What are you doing? And they're just watching her do this. And all of a sudden, she just drives off the football field and parks in front of the front office. She walks in and hands in her name tag and her keys. Here's my keys and, thanks for everything. I'm done. I'm done. And she leaves. Nobody ever saw her again. Apparently, there were tire marks on that football field for weeks after this incident. This girl goes to a sleepover at her friend's house. She's about 10 years old. And everything is normal. It's a nice house, it's a nice family. Nothing weird. But then bedtime rolls around. And that's when she notices something. You see, her friend has 5 brothers. And all 5 of them share one giant room. She walks past. It's filled with bunk beds. No decorations at all. No posters, nothing like that. It looks like a frickin' barracks. Then the mom starts getting everybody ready for bed. And apparently the boys had a nightly routine. All right, boys, line up. All 5 brothers line up. And she starts inspecting them one by one. Shirts tucked in? Good. Jeans on? Good. Belt fastened? Good. You all look very dapper. Now go to bed. And sends them off to bed. She asks her friend, do they do this every night? Her friend's like, yeah, every night. And just think about how weird that is. No pajamas. In fact, the mom is making them wear a t-shirt, jeans, and a belt to sleep. And then she notices something in there. Each of those bunk beds doesn't have a blanket on it. And the brothers acted like it was completely normal. Now you see, alarm bells are going off in my brain. Someone should probably call DCFS. Because that sounds sus. They plotted this for weeks. For about 2 weeks, this small group of students would take the lunchroom food and shove it in their backpacks to save for later. You know, mashed potatoes, hot dogs, milk cartons, pizza, chicken tenders, you know. They would bring it home and put it in the fridge. They're stockpiling cafeteria food. Then, one night, they broke into the school. They snuck into the principal's office. And one by one, they swapped everything out on her desk. None. But they were swapping her stuff out with the cafeteria food that they had been saving. They took her stapler and replaced it with a scoop of mashed potatoes. Her landline phone they replaced with 5 hot dogs. They filled her coffee mug with shredded chicken, and they replaced all of her pens with straws. All the leftover food they put on her desk chair. The next morning, the principal stared at this all in disbelief. What in God's name happened in here? And it was as easy as checking the security cameras. Those kids were caught almost immediately, but still, that's actually kind of hilarious. This teacher had a student that was obnoxious, and anytime she tried to punish him for it, he didn't care. If he got his attention, he would come back smiling. If she called home, He did not care. He liked lunch detentions. He asked to be suspended. Nothing worked, and the kid knew it, and still every single day he would come to class and just be annoying for the sake of it.
Limu, lamu, limu, lamu, limu, lamu, limu.
Oh my god, I hate my life. And if he wasn't making weird limu lamu noises, he'd be tapping pencils, humming, kicking the desk, driving everybody insane. One day the teacher snaps. Hey, what do I have to do to make you stop this? Kid thinks about it for a second, and then he says this. Bring me stuff. What stuff? Candy, snacks, whatever. Now that's absolutely ridiculous. But the teacher was desperate because she's tried everything. There's no punishing this kid. He just doesn't care. So the next day, she shows up with a pack of gum. Hey, here, I brought you this. Thanks. And the transformation is immediate. The kid sits down. He's silent. He does his work. He raises his hand. He's absolutely perfect, and the teacher can't frickin' believe it. Then, the next day, she forgets to bring him something. And immediately,
Limu, lamu, limu, lamu, limu.
right back to it. And according to the students, she stopped everything she was doing, left the room, ran to the vending machine, and came back carrying 4 bags of mini Chips Ahoy cookies. The kid looked at them, took them, nodded, and went right back to behaving super well. The student trained the teacher to bring him stuff so he wouldn't be annoying. Honestly, kid's a legend. This kid's family owned a carpet store, which meant their garage was full of carpet samples. Little squares that are all different colors and different textures. Little mini carpets. And now most people would have looked at these and saw worthless pieces of carpet, but he did not ignore it. He saw a business opportunity. So one Monday, he brings a stack of these carpet samples to school. He takes 2 and sets them on each side of his desk. And that, for that class, was where he put his elbows. Bro, what are those? Oh, these? They're desk carpets. They keep my elbows comfortable. All class period. And that's all he had to say. Immediately, people wanted these little luxurious desk mats. And he just starts charging $5, $2, honestly, whatever people had. Bag of chips? Sure, here's 2 squares. Enjoy your class. After a while of doing this, a bunch of students at that school were using these every single day. The more the demand went up, the more he charged for the nicer quality fabrics. Business was absolutely flippin' booming. In total, he made around $700, and then the school shut him down, because that's what schools do. That's how you gotta think, and you gotta respect it. This is out of control. When this neighbor's 16-year-old daughter crashes her bike into his car, and what the heck? She immediately gets off, starts crying, and calls her mom. The scratch looks awful at first, but he takes it to a shop, and after a few minutes of buffing, it comes right out. No big deal. So he tells this girl and her mom, don't even worry about it. It was an accident. And he thinks that's the end of it. A couple days later, the mom texts him. My daughter still feels terrible, and she wants to apologize properly. Can we bring you over a cake? He says, sure. That sounds nice. Everybody loves cake. So they show up that evening, and this 16-year-old girl's holding a cake. The mom is standing a few feet behind her with a phone out. The girl starts apologizing. Here, again, I'm so very sorry. I take full responsibility for the scratch and for crashing into your car. Mom's behind her filming. Speak louder, sweetie.
I take full responsibility.
Okay. The mom then whispers, go ahead, now ask him if he accepts your apology. But that's when he notices the phone. Wait, stop. Are you recording this? Yeah, I'm gonna post it online. It's gonna teach a bunch of kids to take responsibility for their actions. Like, what? I can even blur your face if you want. He looks at the girl and says, I accepted your apology the day it happened. Then turns to the mom and says, yeah, I'm not doing your stupid video. The mom immediately gets irritated, starts arguing with him. Oh my gosh, you couldn't even let us finish? Let us do the video? Then he just walks back inside. What a weird apology, because it wasn't for him or for the daughter. It was for the camera. The mom, I guess, wanted to go viral. Jeez. This woman had been dating this guy for a few months, and the first time she stayed over at his house, she wanted to take a shower in the morning, but she noticed there wasn't any towels in the bathroom. Steven? Yo, what's up? There's no towels in here. Can I have a towel, please? Oh, yeah, sure. 1 second. Here. Thanks. She noticed that the towel he gave her was obviously super dirty, and it smelled horribly. Steven! Yeah, what's up? Can I have a clean towel, please? This one's dirty. What do you mean? No, that's clean. It's definitely dirty. It's fine, though. Just get me a new towel. Okay, fine. Here. Thank you. Dude, this one's dirty, too. Did you wash these? What are you talking about? You don't need to wash towels. Every time you shower, they clean themselves because they're getting wet. It's like the same thing as a washing machine. So you never wash your towels? Never. My mom did the same thing. What? That is nasty. That is nasty. This is not gonna work. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go shower at my own place. At one school, there was a poop bandit, and nobody knew who it was because nobody ever saw him. All they knew was that every couple of weeks he would strike again. For example, one morning, a teacher opened up her desk drawer. Oh, there's poop in here! Now, the poop bandit would strike in many different places. Desks, lockers, on the floor of the hallway. And every time he did this, there was always a little note. And the note would say, if my demands are not met, the poop bandit will strike again. And whenever this would happen, people would be freaking out. But here's the problem. There were never any demands, just a note. And because there were no demands, there was no way to meet the demands, so every few weeks, he would strike again. But he would still leave the note. It was the absolute biggest mystery in school, and it stopped for a few years. And then it happened again. People think it's a copycat bandit because the first bandit obviously had to have graduated. But still, what a legend? One day, this kid came to middle school with pink eye. He didn't really tell anybody about it, because if the school knew he had pink eye, they would make him stay home. Well, this was right around the time where classes were having some of their biggest tests of the year, and students were getting stressed out. Oh, dude, I couldn't study at all this week. I'm gonna fail this test. Like, it's bad. I tried my best. Hopefully I passed, but you know. What's wrong with your eye, dude? I have pink eye. Oh my god, you have pink eye? Why are you here? Because they're serving chicken nuggets at lunch today. I can't miss that. Dude, if you give me pink eye right now, I'll have it by tomorrow and I won't be able to take the test. Gives me more time. Dude, all right, $10. Okay, here. All right, you ready? Go for it. Okay. Well, word spread, and that day, this dude made $350. The school got pretty suspicious why tons and tons of students had pink eye at the same time. They couldn't really pin it on anybody. And it was a win-win. This kid made some good money, and tons of students were able to pass their tests because they had more time to study.
Yay!
When this kid was in 5th grade, his teacher had one really strict rule. She never repeated herself. She would explain things once, and if you didn't hear it, well, too bad. Well, one day, the class was working on a really big assignment that was due the next day. Teacher stood up and said, all right, listen up, I'm only saying this once. Then she explained the instructions in one long, fast speech. The second she was done, this kid, let's call him Ralph, raised his hand. Excuse me, can you just repeat that last part, please? Ralph, what's the rule? You don't repeat yourself? Exactly, so figure it out. A few minutes later, Ralph was tapped in the shoulder by one of his classmates. Hey, I got you, man. I wrote all of it down. Here. He took the notes, relieved, super thankful, and he started copying them down on his own piece of paper. And he thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't. The teacher came over and snatched the notes off his desk. Absolutely not. If you didn't listen the first time, that's your problem. Are you kidding me? Well, Jake just sat there silent, didn't say a word. The next day, the class turned in that assignment that was due. Once the teacher was done grading it, she said, you didn't turn anything in. Yeah, because I didn't hear the instructions. Well, that's a 0, and you're a... What did you say? You heard me? No, what did you say? I'm sorry, miss. I don't repeat myself. I mean, it was crazy, but it kind of worked because from that day on, the teacher went easy on Ralph, and she even let him do that assignment over again. So one day in 7th grade, this kid got called into the principal's office. He had no idea why. He walks in, sits down, and the principal just stared at him. The principal asks, so, you want to tell me what you did? The kid's confused. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's when the teacher walks in, and she looks pissed. Don't play dumb, you know exactly what you did. Now the kid's kind of panicking. I swear I don't know, what did I do? You skipped my class yesterday, but I know you were at school because I saw you before and after lunch. What were you doing? Huh? Probably something illegal. But here's the thing. He was literally in her class yesterday. No, I wasn't. I was in class. I was sitting on my usual seat. You're crazy. I took attendance, and you were not there. Detention. Now, at this point, this kid is super frustrated. He already did not like this teacher. Now she's accusing him of skipping her class for whatever reason. So he asks the principal one simple question. You have security cameras in every hallway, right? Of course we do, yeah. For the safety of the school. Then check them. The room goes silent. The teacher grows pale because she knows she messed up. They send the kid to sit outside the office while they looked at the cameras, and 15 minutes later, they called him back in. We checked the footage. You were in class. I know. You can go. I'll handle your teacher. But as he was walking away from the office, he could hear the principal yelling at the teacher. Now, why on God's green earth would you make something like that up?
Oh, I didn't.
You better shut your mouth.
You want thin ice? You want thin ice?
It started with strawberry milk, cafeteria strawberry milk. Everyone knew this one kid loved it. I freaking love it. So one day, his friend group makes a deal. All right, so for every strawberry milk carton you finish, we'll all pay you $1. $1 per milk? Easy. So kid starts sliding in these strawberry milk cartons across the table, and now he's got a bunch in front of him. Guys, this is gonna be awesome. I love strawberry milk. The first carton goes down easy. The second carton, still good. Third carton, confidence is growing. I got this. All right, it's $3 so far, man. By the time lunch is halfway over, there's a crowd forming around him, cheering for him. Come on, man, you got this. That's really impressive. That's $15 so far, man. The kid keeps drinking. The money keeps stacking. Carton number 18. He stops in his tracks. Silence. And then it happens. A violent, unstoppable stream of neon pink vomit explodes across the lunch table, covering trays, shoes, people's faces. Everyone begins to scatter, running away from this horrible scene. He got to keep the money, but ever since that day, he has not been able to drink milk ever again, and strawberry milk was his favorite. It's kind of sad. It's first grade and this kid's at a school assembly. The whole school is there. It's a very small school, kindergarten through 12th grade. And it's some educational assembly, like the frickin' Wiggles, trying to get students to learn in fun ways. Actors singing and dancing, they're trying way too hard to make learning look fun. And that's a rhombus. Well, this kid is barely paying attention. Because the night before this, he was watching Spider-Man cartoons, and he was thinking about an episode. So he's half asleep when one of the actors asks, "All right, students, who sailed the ocean blue in 1492? Well, this kid's friend elbows him. He's messing with him. "Hey, bro, she called on you." So he raises his hand.
Okay.
She says, "Okay, what's the answer?" "What's the question?" "Who sailed the ocean blue in 1492? And instead of actually thinking about it, he said the first thing that comes to his mind. "Norman Virgil Osborne." No. Dead silence. Everyone's confused. Then one of the older kids says, "Did he just answer that question with the Green Goblin? That's hilarious!" And then suddenly the entire school starts cheering him on. They push him down to the middle of the gym and they tell him to dance. Dance! 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 They're chanting. The kid has no idea what to do, so he just busts a move. It was horrible. He was embarrassed and he left the gym. But honestly, that sounds like an awesome assembly. His teacher absolutely hated mayonnaise. It's the worst! Like, it was a phobia. One day the class is talking about things that they don't like. Kids are saying bugs, spiders, snakes. And the teacher says, "Well, mine is kind of weird. I hate mayonnaise. The smell makes me sick." Everybody laughs. Class moves on. Except one kid becomes weirdly obsessed with this information. "Mrs. Johnson hates mayonnaise, huh?" The next day, he walks into that class carrying a full jar of mayonnaise. He sits down and just sets it right on his desk. Doesn't say a word. The teacher notices this, but she ignores it. She figures this kid's just trying to mess with me. I'm not even gonna put any energy into it. But then he does it again the next day, and the day after that. Every morning, that mayonnaise jar is just sitting on his desk right next to his notebook, staring at the teacher. Now, after days of completely ignoring this mayonnaise thing, teacher finally breaks. "Okay, I have to ask, why do you keep bringing mayonnaise into my classroom?" He looks up and in complete seriousness, he says, "Because one day, miss, I'm gonna drown you in mayonnaise." Now, the kid didn't actually end up drowning her in mayonnaise, but he did keep bringing that jar to school, and she kept having to look at it. It was there in that classroom every day for the rest of the year. "My bike chain broke. Call Bike Boy." This neighborhood had this one kid. Everybody called him when their bike broke. He could fix anything. Flat tire, if your chain fell off, the brakes were wonky, call him. "Hey, my brakes are wonky. I'm on 5th Street. You called the right guy." He showed up carrying this beat up old backpack. He drove a bike, and attached to the bike was this trailer thing that he would keep all his tools in, spare tires, chains. He had a bike pump. It was a mobile bike repair shop. He even made his own tiny business cards. Tyler's Bike Rescue, and his phone number. The entire neighborhood kept them in their wallets, because you never knew when you needed them. Even parents would put these business cards on their refrigerator. Business started getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly, he wasn't just fixing bikes. He would install new grips, swap the pedals out for something nicer, adjust seats, improve the seats. He was now a bike repair and customization service. Every afternoon, there'd be 2 or 3 bikes flipped upside down in this kid's driveway, and he'd be working on them. People were paying him pretty good. And by the end of summer, Tyler, this random middle school kid, became the neighborhood's official bike roadside assistance and customization. You gotta respect the hustle. Why is the principal sprinting down the hall?
He's here.
Because the mayor's here. So the mayor was coming to visit this school. Everybody's acting that the Queen of England's gonna show up. And the week before, there was an actual assembly. The principal gets on the stage and he goes, "Please do not pull the fire alarm during the mayor's visit unless there's an actual fire." Okay? Everyone just kind of looks around and is like, why would he say that? Was somebody planning to? Thing is, there hasn't been a single fire drill in months, let alone somebody actually pulling it. No one had even thought about it. Of course, until now. Day of the visit, school is spotless. The staff is in full PR mode and the mayor's shaking hands. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm the mayor. Thanks for having me, I'm the mayor. And then it goes off. The mayor's mid-photo like, oh, what? Teachers are sprinting, the principal's yelling, no. And the best part's nobody's panicking. The students aren't panicking at all. They calmly line up and walk out. They're like, of course this would happen today, of course. Eventually they found the kid who did this. All he says is, they made such a big deal about it, I had to do it. I just had to do it. And that's how the mayor's visit became a school-wide evacuation. You skipped school yesterday. Yeah, I know. I have the perfect punishment for you. So this kid skipped school one day, and he wasn't even subtle about it. He didn't fake sick, he didn't have a note, he just didn't show up. And he was posting Snapchats during the school day of him at like McDonald's, riding his bike in the park, playing video games, and that got to the principal. So the principal was like, yo, this dude is dead. Next morning, he walks in and he gets called to the office. The principal's waiting. You skipped school yesterday. Yeah, you know what that means. Makeup work? No, suspension. So, I didn't come to school yesterday. Correct. And now you're punishing me by telling me not to come to school. Exactly. You're suspended. We'll see you next week. He walks out confused, like, is that even a punishment? He got suspended for 2 days, so Thursday and Friday were off, then he had the weekend. It was a nice long weekend for him. The best part, his parents were working late all week. So he literally just stayed home, ate cereal, and played Xbox. Now, I'm not advocating going to get suspended to stay home and do stuff. I'm just saying, for this offense, for skipping school, getting suspended feels like a really weird punishment. An in-school suspension would probably be better, but I don't know. It was just crazy to me. What do you guys think? You want a basic charge or fast? Let's do fast. I need it juiced up by next period. This kid figured out that everyone in the school always had super low battery on their phones. Teachers wouldn't let you charge your phone in class, and half of the outlets were blocked off. By third period, everyone's walking around with like 1% battery. So one day, he shows up to school with a massive portable battery bank. He hides it inside his locker, and he builds a business. $3 for a basic cord charge, $7 for the fast cord charge, $10 for full day priority service. Each cord is labeled blue, slow, red, fast. He's got adapters for every type of phone. He's got a chart in a spiral notebook, and business was booming. People are taking him up on this charging service. He's got sticky notes in every device, this phone for lunch only, this phone charging from lunch till end of day. You know, he was very organized. By the end of this week, he's got regulars. He's got VIPs. One girl even prepaid to have her own charging slot for the entire month to use whenever she wanted to. Kid asks if he can get a charge during science. Yeah, alright, basic or fast? Fast. Alright, that's $7. I'll be right back. But then one day, 3 kids show up to his locker in between classes, and they're all huddled around it. One teacher saw this and got very suspicious. She opens it up and finds 6 phones plugged into a glowing battery brick, fast charging cords tangled like spaghetti, and a handwritten menu taped to the door of the locker. Shut down, battery confiscated, parents called. That was it. He was definitely upset, but dang, what a business. In those 2 weeks he ran this, he made over $200. All because he had a good idea and a battery brick. Gotta respect the hustle. Yo, do you sell gum? Nah, it's a subscription service. And that's what he called it, a gum subscription box. It all started because school banned gum, a hard ban. You got caught, detention, no questions asked. So this kid, Dorian, he builds a workaround. He doesn't sell gum directly. Like there's no handoffs in the hallway, none of that stuff. Instead, he offers subscriptions. You pay him on Monday, and every morning that week, a sealed envelope shows up in your locker. Inside, exactly what you ordered. Each envelope was coded by flavor. Green dot, spearmint. Pink dot, bubblegum. Orange dot, citrus. He called it drop-safe packaging. He never handled gum during the school day, only in the mornings, and he never spoke with customers after Monday. So they would give him their orders. Yeah, I want my weekly subscription. Every day I want 2 spearmint and 1 citrus. Bet you. By week 3, half the 7th grade was on a plan. Teachers start noticing gum under desks, students secretly chewing gum in class, but no one ever sees where the gum comes from. They assumed it was coming from somebody because there was hardly any gum-related incidents before, and all of a sudden, everyone's chewing gum and there's gum under a bunch of desks. So they started pressing. Where'd you get this? I don't know, it was in my locker. They tried to trace it back, but these envelopes were very mysterious. Well, this is how everything ended. He was caught by a parent. A mom found one of his subscription envelopes in the laundry. She thought it was something very shady and she called the school. The admins did some investigating and they found some students who they pressed. And they snitched. This kid got shut down. In-school suspension for 3 days, and he had to write apology letters. But in just under a month, he made over $400. You gotta respect the hustle. Where does he get all his money? Oh, he runs a school storage empire. Nice. So this kid finds an extra locker. No name on it, no combination, just unlocked. And he gets an idea. He cleans it out, puts his own lock on it, and he starts a business. $3 a day for private storage. He spreads the word, people start taking him up on this. The first week he makes $15. Just from kids storing some random stuff, like a lunch or a hoodie. But he takes that $15 and he flips it. He starts renting lockers from other students. He found kids that never use theirs, and he gives them money. He rents it out from them. And now he's running his storage business out of their lockers as well. It's simple. He pays a small little fee, he charges people for storage, and he keeps the profit. At his peak, he had 3 different lockers in 3 different hallways. Different clients, different time slots. People would store their phones before gym, put their hoodies in there when they were too hot. There was no drama, no theft, everybody respected the system. He kept a spiral notebook to track who had what in what locker and when. He even offered weekly deals. $10 for 5 days guaranteed. One kid used that to store a bunch of snacks for himself to have throughout the week. But then, one day, 3 kids are hovering by locker 223. A teacher walks by, sees one of them pull out a whole bag of candy and a phone charger. Whose locker is this? Nobody answers. The admin gets involved. They pop the lock. Inside are 3 phones, a hoodie, a bag of Takis, and a pair of Crocs. They start asking around, and eventually his name got brought up and he was called to the office. Were you charging students to use lockers? No, I was offering a service, but what would you know about that? Locker Empire shut down. But in 2 weeks, he made over $100. No losses, no complaints. The only reason it ended was because it got too popular. And that's a good thing. You gotta respect the hustle. All right, students, dodgeball. 3, 2, 1, go. It was gym class and the kids were playing dodgeball. So like a major W. Well, this kid Jay was playing just like everybody else. 2 groups were lined up on each side of the gym, and the dodgeballs were right on the middle line. 3, 2, 1, go. And they all run for the dodgeballs and then step back. And people begin throwing them. Well, Jay grabbed one and he launched it. But it accidentally smacked this girl in the face. I mean, that's the game, right? Dodgeball. You try to hit people, then they're out. Well, this girl was kind of one of the popular girls. She was also super dramatic. Well, she starts crying. And the gym teacher runs over. Oh my God, are you okay? No, go sit down. Jay, come here. What? Are you kidding me? You're out of line. What do you mean? We're literally playing dodgeball. Office, now. So he goes to the office, and he gets written up. People started whispering that Jay hit a girl. He tried to explain, but nobody cared. No, guys, we were playing dodgeball. That's what we're supposed to do. And he became that kid, and he never played dodgeball again. But guys, that makes no frickin' sense. That's what you do, right? That's dodgeball. I don't know. That's nuts. So there was this one teacher, and he lost his frickin' mind. At this one school, every single spring, there was this thing called Wildlife Week. For one whole week, classes would go outside the school and go into the woods, and they would just explore, learning about wildlife and creatures and stuff like that. It was everyone's favorite week. But this one teacher, older, gray hair, mid-50s, he decided that the kids in his class had to pay a wildlife tax. For this year, kids, you have to pay me if you want to participate in Wildlife Week. The students are sitting there stunned, and one kid was just like, I ain't paying for that, old man. There will be consequences if you don't cooperate. Prove it. Well, that made this teacher incredibly mad, and he snaps. He walks 3 steps towards this kid and just punches him right in the face. The kids knocked out cold, the teachers looking around like, oh my god, what did I just do? School security runs in because they heard all the ruckus. They dragged this guy out of the school. He was fired. He went to jail for a little bit, and yeah, that's it. But, hey, that's crazy. This is my house and my rules. This one dad ran his house like a frickin' business. Instead of allowance, there was a chore system. Every Sunday night, he'd post a list on the fridge. Vacuuming, dishes, mowing, even stuff like wiping down the baseboards. All right, kids, this is your work week. Everything must be done by Friday. And here's the catch. If something wasn't done, or it was done poorly, you would owe him $5. And no, they weren't losing allowance. They didn't get an allowance. They would actually owe him $5. So Friday after work, he would come into the house. He had a clipboard, and he would check every single thing that he put on the chore list. The bedroom trash can was still full. There was grass clippings all over the yard. That's $10 total. Didn't matter if you had a job or not. If you were in debt that Friday night, you had the weekend to figure it out, or else. One of his kids ended up mowing 3 neighbors' yards. Another one was begging for shifts at the local ice cream shop. Hey, can I please work a few hours today? Who are you? And if you didn't pay him by Sunday night, he would start taking stuff. Game controllers, headphones, even his kids' bikes. There was no limit. And that has to be the craziest thing I've heard in a long time. So every day during class, she made her students sit in a circle, and they had to confess something they felt guilty about. It was called the guilt circle. She said it helped build trust, but it felt more like public humiliation. Every morning, right after the bell rang, one by one, share something you regret, something you're hiding, a dark secret. And if you really couldn't think of anything, she would say, that's fine, but you're going twice tomorrow. It would be stuff like, I ate my sister's Halloween candy. I cheated on a vocab quiz. But after a while, that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted them to go deeper. I spread a horrible rumor about my friend. I took money from my mom's purse. And she loved it. Oh, why do you think you did that? Do you think she knows? No. Day after day, week after week, this is how things went down. Until one day a kid stood up and said, you know what, Mrs. Keller, you should feel guilty. You make us say this stuff in front of you and all of our classmates, and then I bet you go laugh about it in the teacher's lounge. The whole room froze. She didn't say anything. And I guess that was all it took, because the next day, the guilt circle stopped. For real though, that is super messed up and completely unacceptable. The lunch lady from hell. This lunch lady was your classic grumpy old woman. Hairnet, gloves, stained apron, and she seemed to hate children. I hate children. She never smiled. She was always in a horrible mood. Well, one day this kid in the lunch line says something to her that makes her flip out. Next, is this meat even real? The whole lunch line starts laughing at her. And then another kid goes, yeah, is it even real? Also, you're the worst lunch lady ever. Even Mrs. Johnson's rabbits hate you. Now, a little sidebar here. Mrs. Johnson was the art teacher, and she had a cage of like 4 rabbits. They would sit outside her door in the hallway. And the school loved these rabbits. These rabbits were cherished. They were lovely little rabbits. Well, the lunch lady didn't like hearing this. Quit laughing at me. This is funny to you. You're gonna regret this. Oh, you're gonna regret this. So lunch ends, and later that day, this teacher was walking the hallways when she notices the lunch lady standing by the rabbit cage. Scrap-a-dink-a-dee. What is she doing? She's wearing her rubber gloves. She has a strange bag, and she's putting the rabbits in this bag. 1 rabbit, 2 rabbits, 3 rabbits, 4. Now I'm gonna throw you all on the floor. Okay, she didn't make that little rhyme, but still, she was putting these rabbits in a bag, and she was gonna do something horrible with them. Well, the teacher said, hey, put those down. Security, the lunch lady's taking the rabbits. Security shows up, takes these rabbits, and puts them back in the cage. They then drag her to the office, and they send her home forever. After that day, the rabbits stayed inside Mrs. Johnson's classroom for safety. I wonder what she was gonna do to the rabbits. That's insane. Come here, idiot. Not you again. Every single day at lunch, this same bully would walk by this kid. He would slam his lunch tray down and laugh. Oops, my bad. I guess you're eating off the floor again. The kid would just pick it up. He would try not to cause a scene, but it kept happening every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, finally this kid had enough. He snapped. One day he showed up to lunch with a shiny metal lunchbox. It looked normal and nobody thought twice. But inside the lunchbox were 2 heavy bricks. The thing was heavy, but he was carrying it around like it was normal. So here comes the bully. He's smirking. Hey, let me help you with your new lunchbox, lunch boy. Oh, okay. And just like every other day, the bully smacks the lunchbox. But right as the bully's hand hits the lunchbox, the kid lets go right above the bully's foot. My toe! I think it's broken. Oops, my bad. And the bully's toe was broken, but it was his own fault. After that day, he did not mess with this kid ever again. Yeah, good. You are not allowed in the nurse's office anymore. He thought she was joking. She wasn't. This kid got banned from medical care. So in 6th grade, there was this kid, let's call him Owen. Always had some weird stomach thing, or headache, or sore throat. Honestly, yeah, he faked it a lot. He'd go to the nurse's office like it was his part-time job. But one day the nurse goes, Owen, we've seen you 9 times this month. From now on, no more nurse visits unless it's an emergency. He's like, okay, what? Well, 2 weeks later, gym class. They're playing dodgeball and Owen face plants into the floor. He's seeing stars, he's holding his head. Oh man, he's in a lot of pain. Coach goes, I'm gonna take him to the nurse. He walks into the nurse's office and the nurse literally said this, Coach, he's playing you. I promise you, he's playing you like a fiddle. He doesn't need the nurse right now. He's completely fine, okay? I don't want to hear it. I have a phone call in 5 minutes. Okay. So for sure, the nurse was being 1000% out of line there. Super dangerous. Anyway, Coach takes Owen back to the gym. How you feeling, buddy? You okay? Now Owen's slurring his words like, I'm fine. I think I just need a nap. Eventually, the coach freaks out. He doesn't even want to deal with the nurse anymore. You guys just sit in the bleachers for the rest of class, okay? I'm taking him to the hospital. He leaves the rest of the class there in the gym and he drives this kid to the hospital himself. Turns out, Owen actually had a mild concussion and the coach doesn't take this lightly. He brings it up to the school board. The school board is now in panic mode. The nurse is being investigated. Owen is no longer banned from the nurse's office. This could have very well been a lawsuit. Owen fully recovered. But you know him, once he realized the nurse ban was off, he was still in there multiple times a week just to skip class. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? These 2 sisters begged for a dog. Please. Yeah, please, Dad. The dad would always say, you girls are not responsible enough. Well, years go by, and after years of pleading, the dad finally caves in a little bit. He compromised and brought home a pot-belly pig. Oh my god, a piggy! They named her Sonic because she would sprint around the house like lightning. And for a while, Sonic was family. She would nap underneath the dining room table, roll over for belly rubs. She would even let the family rest their feet on her like she was a footrest. Well, Sonic didn't stay small. Within months, she grew into a 4-foot pig that lived in the patio. Well, then came the house renovations that were supposed to be done. The dad said the workers were gonna be there all the time and there was nowhere for Sonic to stay. She's gotta go somewhere, she can't stay here. Well, honey, we have to figure this out. We can't just let her go. They begged. The mom looked around and she found a country club that was willing to house her temporarily while the renovations were getting done. But the dad said no. Weeks later, the mom and the daughters flew to Sydney, Australia to visit some family. One night, the phone rang. And it was the dad. So nobody agreed to take Sonic. Okay, I'll make some more calls. Don't bother, I put her down. She's gone. It's for the best, okay? Have fun. What? The 3 of them just sat there in silence. They were stunned. Your dad killed Sonic. What? No. They were absolutely devastated. That dad is the absolute worst. And, rest in peace, Sonic. She told him to wash the car, and she gave him a bucket and a sponge. You should be all set. All right, I'm on it, Mom. So he goes outside with the bucket and the sponge. He sets the bucket right next to the car. I'm gonna put you right here. Then he goes to the side of the house and grabs the hose. Okay, got the hose. And he begins dragging the hose over to the bucket by the car. All right. But the hose is not long enough. It doesn't reach. Ah, great. So, he turns on the water. Fill this bucket up, but how am I gonna do it? Just gonna launch it from here. And he begins spraying the hose and trying to arch it into this water bucket. Come on. But the bucket keeps tipping over. Come on. Not again. He adjusts his stance, he changes the angle of the hose, he's trying to find the best way to fill this bucket, but this kid didn't realize that he could just take the bucket and bring it to the hose and then bring the bucket back to the car. Like, at no point does that enter his brain. His mom's watching him through the window. I raised an idiot. I mean, yeah, kinda. This kid's taking a math test one day when something falls out of her pencil case. The teacher sees the piece of paper on the ground. Oh, Stacy, I saw that. Pick up that paper and go to the office. No cheating in my class. No, I wasn't cheating. No, go to the office. No, seriously, I wasn't cheating. Just read it. Take the note and go to the office now. Jeez, lady's going a little crazy, huh? But this girl then goes to the office. So now she's walking through the hallways, carrying her backpack while the teacher follows behind her. She grabbed a different faculty member to watch the class while she left. They get to the principal's office. Stacy, sit down. What's going on here? I caught her with a cheat sheet, cheating during our test. Go ahead. Hand him the piece of paper. The teacher looks at Stacy. Stacy looks at the principal. The principal looks at Stacy. Here. Go ahead. Read the note. The principal takes the paper and reads it out loud. Eggs, bacon, window cleaner, popcorn, Cheez-Its. This is a dang grocery list. Yeah, I know. I'm going to the store after school for my mom. I wasn't cheating. You crazy teacher. Mrs. Johnson, are you serious right now? I could have. Is there somebody watching your class right now? Yes, Mrs. Carroll is. Good. Stacy, go back to class. We're having a chat. That's Karma. She's on her first date at this guy's place, and he's cooking dinner. What's for dinner? Food. Now his place has this rustic cabin vibe. Wooden floors, dim lights. There's a weird smell that she noticed, but she thinks it's just an old house. I'm noticing a weird smell. It's probably because it's an old house. Well, at that moment, this guy's dog walks into the room and just unloads a 30-second pee right in the middle of the floor. She's trying to get his attention. Stop. No. Your dog, he's peeing. He doesn't turn around, he just says, oh yeah, he does that sometimes. Well, then she asks if there's a towel she can help him clean up the pee. Since you're cooking, I can clean it up. But he says this, nah, you can just leave it. I'll spray some Febreze on it later, let it dry by itself. And that's when it hits her. The smell wasn't the cabin. That soft spot on the floor wasn't just old wood. It was the dog's bathroom. And dogs sometimes pee inside, but he never cleaned his dog's pee up. He just put Febreze on it. She politely sat there and ate dinner. Then she leaves and never texts him ever again. That's nasty. This guy went to a friend's house for dinner. Everything was chill until the milk came out. It was a really big family. They were at the table. It was loud. Every single person there gets a glass of milk. And milk for you, 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 milk for me. Bruh. Well, then it starts getting weird. The dad reaches over and grabs his son's milk. Hey son, let me see your cup. I'm done with mine. And he pours his leftover milk into his son's cup. Then the mom decides she's done with her milk, so she pours her milk into her daughter's cup. And this just keeps going. When everyone decides they're done drinking milk, they pour it into somebody else's cup. So like milky backwash just rotating through everybody. Now the guest, he's just like, what is going on here? If someone finishes their milk and they want more, I want some more milk, mom. Oh, that's perfect. I'm done with mine. I'll give you it. She just pours it into his cup. At this house, milk does not get wasted. It does not get poured down the sink. It gets recycled. And if everybody at the table is done with their milk, but there's still milk in the cups, they pour that milk back in the carton. And my friends, that is absolutely disgusting. Why is there a piñata in the cafeteria? It's her birthday! So this girl, Olivia, she had a December birthday, and she hated how nobody celebrated it because it was so close to Christmas. There was never any cupcakes, no parties, and she was kind of tired of it. So for weeks leading up to her birthday one year, she saved up some money. She buys 4 giant piñatas, and she stuffed them herself. Dollar bills, candy, snacks, tons of stuff. Her plan was this: 1 piñata in the lunchroom, 1 in the hallway, 1 in the gym, and 1 in her math class. She even brought wooden bats to school to use for these as well. The first one at lunch, she pulls the rope and the piñata rises. She yells, and go! Kids abandon their trays and they rush towards this piñata, fighting over the bat to beat this thing. Candy explodes all over the floor. Dollar bills are floating around. It was awesome. People are going crazy. One teacher tries to stop it. Hey, put that bat down! One kid says, it's a cultural celebration! And the teacher backs off. He's like, all right, fine. Third period. In the math classroom, kids beat the crap out of it. Taffy rains down like confetti, and 2 students start fighting over the last Kit Kat bar. Security shows up. Yeah, we've got piñatas on multiple floors. I repeat, there are multiple piñatas. Olivia gets called to the office. She's carrying a broken bat that's covered in Smarties dust. The principal says, you brought 4 piñatas to school today. Yeah, it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday. You're suspended. She gets a 1-day suspension. But for the rest of that year, all people could ever talk about was that crazy day with the 4 piñatas. And that sounds absolutely legendary.
Boss, আপনি কিন্তু আবার রাগ করেন না। বুড়ি বেড়ি বয়স হইছে মা। থাকো তুমি, তোমার লগে পরে কথা কইতেছি, হ্যাঁ? সাইকেলের চেনটা এখানে এসেই পড়ছে।
ভাই ঠিক হয়ে গেছে।
কিরা তো জলদি ঠিক হয়ে
কিং গানে জামশেদ চাচা খোয়ারে ধরে নিয়ে গেছে।
কি কইলি? জামশেদ চাচার খবরে নিয়ে গেছে মানে? তাও ফকিন্নির পোলা 100 টাকা কম দিস, বুঝছস? তোমার নাম
মৌ।
কি নাম?
প্রিয়া।
প্রিয়া।
জানালায় জোড়া চোখ পড়ে না।
একদম পরীর মতো দেখ।
কি কস সত্যি? নাম কি, বাড়ি কই?
আচ্ছা আমি যাইতেছি।
প্রিয়া।
পেন্সিল ভাষা পেল কি কবিতার
ওই জামতলায় আপনার সাথে আমার মুখোমুখি সব কথা হবে, ঠিক আছে? গেলাম।
আপনাদের খোলা চুলে খুব সুন্দর লাগে, একদম কাজলের মতো। আর সেই জন্য সাইকেলের চেনটা এখানে এসেই পড়ছে।
ভাই
কিছু হয় নাই, হবেও না।
হবে না তবে না কি শুরু করছে বলো তো?
তুকো ওই কিং হ্যান্ডেল লইয়া মাঠে যা, যা। যাস না।
আচ্ছা তুমি যাও না, খাউনটা বারো। জানোস না, জানতে হইব তো। রিক্সাটা লো, সাইকেলটা লো বেটা আগে।
হবে না। আর আমি বুঝলাম না, এই দুনিয়াতে এত জায়গা থাকতে আমার বাড়ির
সময় আহুক, দেখবি মনের কথা সব ভরভর করে কয়ে দিব।
বাসায় তো রাসেল ভাইকে বারান্দায় টিভি ভিসিআর আনছে, আমরা সবাই মিলে ওখানে সিনেমা দেখতে যেতেছি, আমিও ওই দিক যেতেছিলাম।
कभी कभी जीतने के लिए कुछ हारना भी पड़ता है। हार का जीतने वाले।
বাচ্চা ভাই একদম ফাটাই দিচ্ছেন। সিনেমা আর কি দেখবো? আপনাকে দেখে মনে হচ্ছে চোখের সামনে শাহরুখ খান ডায়লগ দিচ্ছে।
টাকাতি নষ্ট করস তুই, সিনেমা টিভি দেখস।
तुमने तो कहा था कि तुम्हारे पापा के सामने ये एक
আম্মা ছাড়ো।
এই বাচ্চা, বাচ্চা,
ডন
এই বাচ্চা।
কথা কইছো, আমি কিন্তু বাড়িতে ওই বন্ধ করে দিব। আমি জামুগা।
আব্বারে, ও আব্বা, তুকো ওই কিং হ্যান্ডেল লইয়া মাঠে যা, যা। যাস না।
আচ্ছা তুমি যাও না, খাউনটা বারো।
শুনে
সন্ধে আকাশে খুঁজে আজ রং।
না মানে এই হ্যাঁ ইয়ে ওই যে সিনেমা, শাহরুখ খানের সিনেমা দেখতে দেখতে বড় হয়েছি না।
ভয় পাচ্ছেন কেন? সামনে আসেন। আরে আরো কাছে আসেন।
আকাশে খুঁজে আজ রং, জানালায় জোড়া চোখ।
আগে দায়িত্ব ছিল না, তাই হারানোর ভয়ও ছিল না, আর এখন দায়িত্ব আছে, তুই ছাড়া কিন্তু আমার কেউ নাই। হ্যাঁ
আমি এ জায়গায় থাকতে পারবো না, তুইও ঘুমিয়ে পড়।
আচ্ছা আমি যাইতেছি।
কি সমস্যা? বাচ্চা আজকে তোমার কি হয়েছে বলো তো?
যখন আমি খোলা চুলে দেখি এই দিলে तुम नहीं समझोगी प्रिया।